Gippsland in Victoria, same sort of thing, taking all the wastewater from an Australian paper plant, a very muggy valley, and turning it into a good system that permits the reuse of the effluent. It's now being used for all purposes. But as you'll note, I put in bold, they did a lot of work on community awareness about water conservation and sustainable management and reusing effluent. So we usually think of Singapore as the example. It could be that the work that's done here would be a more important one to go and look at. Another big Mexican plant that is now going to be getting treatment for 10.5 million inhabitants of wastewater, and the effluent will flow into irrigation channels free of charge. That will replace 90% of its city's wastewater currently being piped north for alfalfa, which raises issues. There's also new things happening with watershed monitoring itself. 2 Alberta watershed councils have got online, state-of-the-art electronic computer manageable management tools for digital reporting. Bernadette is in the audience somewhere. She can tell you about this. There's state-of-the-art water reporting in a lot of watershed managements in a lot of places. GWP may well already be introducing this, but we shouldn't be moving to the pen and pencil stage if there are online abilities that can be used by a cell phone, that can be powered by electronic devices that people have. We shouldn't be going through the pen and pencil stage in order to actually do the monitoring of watersheds. Colorado River is doing a big CH2M Hill, a big project that is pulling together all the stakeholders, federal, state, tribal, local interests, to define standard metrics for all of the uses of the Colorado River Valley. There they are: agriculture, industrial, hydro, recreation, fish, etc. And they're doing a 25-year out forecast of all the uses of the Colorado River and seeing if they can agree on both metrics and repartition of the water sources. So that's a big one to watch in terms of the technology and the software systems that they'll be using, as well as the process that they're going to be going through. Wastewater treatment, not new, but even ever more exciting. Rotterdam buses powered with wastewater, Sweden and Germany, trying to get more and more phosphorus derived from the wastewater, half of that returned to the farms. Phosphate is a finite resource, just like copper, just like oil and gas. France this year is at the break-even point where it's capturing more phosphorus than it's actually importing. So that saves money, that saves resources. It's an important agricultural area. Pollution control, I'm almost finished. New agriculture and new energy can solve some of the water problems, and I particularly want to say this to our South Asian partners. You know, urea deplacement technique can do so much about blue-green algae and eutrophication, and this is now starting. It's almost up to about 750,000 farmers by pelletizing fertilizer, by sticking it further into the ground. You can use it. The amount that you use, the amount used, is such that it adds as much as 25% to farmer income. It increases the percentage of nitrogen taken up by the plants, and it reduces the nitrogen flow into water and soil. That's very simple technique. We need to get that semi-mechanized, which is happening in Bangladesh and Thailand, but this needs to spread around the world because we do not need to have our water sources eutrophied, and part of that can be done through a totally different way of distributing fertilizer. The fertilizer companies do not jump up and down with joy when they hear this. And so therefore it's been difficult to get sponsors for this, even though the International Fertilizer Council, on which I sit, is the one that is actually putting this into place. But I mean, there are answers to some of the agricultural pollution issues. They're not all mega scale. If you want small scale decentralized wastewater treatment, look on Water Wiki. Final one, breweries, prisons, and skyscrapers. What do these things have in common? A UK brewery is actually getting biomethane from brewery and food waste and putting it on the UK gas grid. Kenyan prison, I wish I knew the name of it. If anybody knows, come up and tell me after. They're using the water that used to be used to transport the prisoners' waste. The waste is going directly to the biogas plant. It's recycled, used for agricultural purpose, and the water that transports it there. So they've been able to substitute for firewood with biogas, and it's helping to reduce drought and increase food security. Prisoners are a captive audience. They don't have a lot of choices about a number of things. And so this is a very good way to introduce novel ways of actually increasing agricultural productivity in prison gardens. Le Solaire, which is a terrace, a huge skyscraper in New York. There's the statistics, 27 stories, 293 units, is now using 35% less energy, reduces electrical demand, etc. Rainwater is collected for irrigation, a green roof. You can read their story on the web, but they have no uptake of city water for outdoor use in their skyscraper. So if you want to, you can do it, and it reduces the bills, and it's a better thing to do. If GWP wants to get involved in looking at energy, there were 6 important measures, 6 important undertakings taken at the end of Marseille. Water should save energy, desal should be energy cheaper, get isolated communities that don't have electricity, get them water. An analytical framework for reporting on the energy impacts of water, sustainability performance for hydro and oil and gas industries. There's ongoing work there. This is the kind of short-term partnerships that could well be useful to GWP once they expand the interest onward and upward. So back to GWP, right ingredients, good policy sense, looking at the right issues, looking at the right part of the problem. Strong plug for a lot of short-term partnerships to really extend the boundaries of thinking into current problems. Real expertise in implementation, and it doesn't have to be GWP implementation, just talk about the fact that doing it better with a better policy framework gets a better result. Study success, talk about it, solve problems, not just policies and frameworks, but it's a complicated old world. And thank you all for continuing to work in it with the dedication you have.